Right, I'd like to call the special joint meeting for the Public Works and Utilities Committee and the Plan Commission for 5:30, Monday, September 12th, 2022. Roll call and declaration of a quorum by Secretary Parker.
Right, sorry, I just gotta get my. Right thing in front of me here. Right, PC, Cronin,
Here.
Zagami,
Here.
Ermeling,
Here.
Current,
Here.
Jordan,
Here.
Lumpert,
Here.
Pincinel,
Here.
and alternates Mark Maloney and Dave Deason are not here. And the Public Works Committee, Zagami,
Here.
Ermeling,
Here.
Hubbard,
Here.
and Lopez Farrell is excused, Mumpert.
Here. Okay, public comment. Do we have anybody online or here in the audience that wishes to make a public comment? Second time, anybody online or in the audience that wishes to make a public comment? And third and final time, anybody here or online that wishes to make a comment? Hearing none, we'll move along. New business, item number 4, Weston Avenue project update.
Yeah, so I guess, do apologize. This has been last week there was a couple different meetings and information, so I wanted to make sure you guys had the most up-to-date update, I guess, on the project here. So there is a hard copy at everybody's desk, which has the RFC and then a couple of exhibits. I'll also email this out at the end of this meeting, so you have it digitally as well. So I guess the project last month or so has been a lot of back and forth with the DNR, primarily between the wetland permitting arm and the stormwater quality management arm of the DNR. I guess the first meeting we had with them, our original 60% plans on the east had a wetland impact showing of just under 8 acres. So we're trying to figure out what we could do to, I guess, decrease that, as the DNR thought that was too much. And the big point of conflict really was the stormwater model for improving the quality of it, the total suspended solids. Utilizing that rural section was having wide ditches and storm ponds, and the ditch width and the ponds, based on the contours of the land, was generally along or in the wetland areas. So after the first couple meetings with the DNR in August, I guess as I described to them, I felt stuck. We had one arm telling us you have to meet the stormwater requirements, and the other one saying you can't impact wetlands, and the only way to improve the stormwater requirements was to impact the wetlands. So we started looking at a few options for design changes or things we could do. The primary wetland complex is between Progress Way and County Road J in that stretch. So one thing we were asked was, can you, we have the multi-use path. Can you put the path right tight to the road? Can you eliminate the path together? So we did go back with a meeting in later August looking at, no path, took us down to about 4.5 acres. Having a path tight to the curb was, about 4.6 if use a rural section and a steeper slope. So then I guess that's where we kind of looked at the project, could it be split up? Could we have part of it where it was just, maybe from Zinser east and then another part that was going west. And I guess there still the suspended solids was looked at, I don't put it separately, so you couldn't have part of the project split up and be an excess bank for the other project. You had to look at them each individually. So I guess in my opinion, I think we hit a little bit of a breakthrough, this past week where, we kind of had the stormwater side recognize that, the ditches that are being designed and modeled are likely going to be underwater majority of the time, so they're not actually going to have any benefits. So, we can utilize I guess the maximum extent practical in the stormwater terms where you're doing the best you can to meet the requirements, and there's, I guess, extenuating circumstances that make it so you can't meet them to the requirements. So that's where, the stormwater person finally said, well, yes, I guess if the only way for you to meet this is to disturb the wetlands, but then it's still going to be underwater, you're really not going to get any benefit from it. So they would encourage us to just ditch it essentially to the wetlands as it currently is out there. So then we looked at what the no path alternative was, so if we just had the roadway section and didn't put in a multi-use path, and we're down to about 2 acres of impacts to wetlands. The Army Corps of Engineers wanted to see it under 3 acres, so we're at 2 acres. We're under where I guess the Army Corps was encouraging us to be. And I guess so by reducing that, being able to ditch to the wetlands or just slope to the wetlands, it takes that wetland impact away, and we should be getting an updated right-of-way plat or right-of-way impact later this week, or I said early this week, I guess. And hopefully that should show that our right-of-way needs are a lot less too through that stretch, which hopefully would make this project a lot more likely to be able to get built starting in the spring here. So I know it's a lot of information, kind of a timeline progression there, but open to questions.
Maybe in the end here, because it's affecting what's being recommended to be done with the project, maybe you can go through the photos and.
Sure.
Or I just kind of show what we're arriving at right now.
Yeah, so so I guess on these exhibits, some of these bigger hash areas was what the original design included as disturbed wetland areas. That was the treat for the stormwater treatment, and that's what I guess in early August we were being kind of pointed towards. You need to do that. So now this was an updated exhibit as of Friday, where it's very, I guess, much more minimal or a smaller impact, pretty much just along the roadside ditches as you move from the project kind of east to west here. So I guess part of this is by being able to slope the road to the wetlands, and the other part is this represents a pavement section that doesn't have the multi-use path on it. It's just the street, a widened street section, essentially. So it's 12-foot lanes with then a 6-foot paved shoulder. So some of these impacts, like right here, completely went away just by kind of being able to reduce that impact along the roadway corridor.
So is he gonna provide a new drawing for this?
Yeah, we'll have new cross sections and drawings for that. So
Just similar to this to show us the impact. You gotta do something for DNR. What is
So
gonna,
provided the
he's gonna.
Public Works Committee agrees, we would take that path, you're removing the path from that piece of the
Right,
street
yeah.
from Progress Way to J,
correct.
is what the proposal is. To minimize wetland impacts. So that's one thing related to this discussion.
Yeah.
So there's a couple others that were brought up. One was a different route for the sewer and water in that eastern part of the project, and then the prospect of constructing a roundabout at Ryan.
Correct.
So those are 2 other things that Michael was able to give you some information about tonight here.
Is there any public safety impact by eliminating that?
The multi-use path.
I guess that was my first thought, as I said, from a safety standpoint, if we take that chunk out of there, then, I mean, I love the economics of it, but then I said, from a safety standpoint, 5 years from now, if people are gonna use that, what happens when they get to the end of that?
They're gonna go out onto the road.
That's what I was wondering about.
Yeah,
End up on the road.
So I guess right now the pavement there's 24 feet of asphalt out there. So the proposed cross section would be 40 feet of asphalt, which is like what Ross Avenue has with the bike lanes.
Okay.
So we are, I guess, still making that wider, so there would be a paved shoulder for, I guess.
That you could mark and it would.
That would be marked and delineated.
Okay, then I'm good with it. I don't know.
Yeah, I heard you
Somebody
say
else.
like a 6 foot shoulder,
Yeah, like a paved shoulder, yeah.
and it doesn't affect the impacts on the wetland. Is it currently, how wide is it currently? Like,
It's about 24 feet of pavement.
so we can actually add it to, we can go up to.
Well, so when we go to 40, we still have 2 acres of wetland impacts through there,
Okay.
but it's a lot less than the 8
You're
original.
actually filling into up to 2 acres of wetland, and then they're just allowing that to shed right to the wetland off the road
Correct, yeah.
without any worries about total suspended solid.
Well, we have to have so much of a side slope to have a filter. We have to at least have a 5-foot filter strip on the side slopes. We can't just have a drop off, but,
And then when we plow it, we throw it out that far anyway?
yeah, so part of it is they look at the existing conditions, right? So the suspended solids calculation is based off of current conditions.
Yeah.
To proposed. So our current conditions, we are plowing, grit.
Yeah.
Off the road.
Sure.
So there is a part of that where, for transport, we're already doing it, so they don't make you, it's not like it's a farm field right now that we're putting a new road through.
So is he resubmitting again, the DNR?
Yeah, we will.
He has to.
Yep, correct.
Okay, we get to see that resubmittal.
Yeah, I mean, as far as, any changes in the plans and stuff,
Right.
yep,
Okay.
correct.
Jim?
If you use that permeable asphalt, does that do anything for your multi-use path? Does that change the calculation from the DNR's aspect, or is that, they just still see it as impervious, have a nice day?
It's an impact, during construction, you'd be impacting the wetlands and then you'd be filling them to put the path in. So once you disturb them and you change that, they deem it as you change the hydrology, you've now impacted them.
And then what would the impact, or what would our east to west distance is the same, is there right of way on the north side where Highway 29 is? Could you run the path north? I mean, clearly we have to cover the cost south to north.
Yeah, there's probably other options we can look at for, a path. I mean, we ran it to Progress Way just because we do have the waterfowl kind of refuge area there. We figured we can, get a trail system there. Then it would connect up to, Prohaska Park and the rest of Weston Avenue. And yeah, I mean, we could look at, I guess Keith kind of started talking about the utility corridor, I don't know if that would be something that,
Right.
those property owners would, entertain or somehow find a way, to get closer to Highway 29 and have a path.
We're not disturbing the wetland, but we're still, not like Mr. Bumper said, you put this bike or foot traffic back on the street. I get it, it works on Ross Ave, but it doesn't work well.
Yeah,
It's not ideal.
correct.
A path through the woods would be better, or through the marsh, or through the field, or through the somewhere.
Yeah.
Because this would make our costs less, where in the original bid, we're already paying for multi-use path and disturbing all these soils and refilling them and whichever, right? So we're gonna peel money out of that budget if we
Yeah.
go with this current plan,
There should be a savings.
have dollars saved.
It'd be less than what we probably had budgeted, sure. What was originally estimated?
Right, because there had to be dollars budgeted to fill that hole in.
Right now we're just estimates. We have no firm cost on anything.
Sure.
And where was that multi-use, where would that end then, Michael? Does it end right before your subdivision? Or the village, Progress Way?
Yeah, right at Progress Way.
Right where the wetlands, then you would just jump out onto the road?
Yeah, so that'd be you know, we somehow have that transition at the west leg of Progress Way.
Okay. It'd be on the northwest corner of that.
Then, yeah.
And the water's being ran, not along the road, I guess, out there as well.
Yeah, so, so I guess part of that is this, kind of cross-country utility route that we talked about, just kind of a guesstimate of where it would go. So I guess part of this is there's additional wetland delineation survey work that, would need to be done to get the utility routes in the proposed plans set. So I guess, if we jump ahead to the utility, the estimated design cost, is about $93,750 for additional survey, and wetland delineation along with, kind of revised plans, looking at that route. But that would likely keep it out of the wetlands. It would also keep it so it's more accessible, I guess, more likely that those properties would be able to connect to it in the future at a much more reasonable cost and ability. And we'd still get the, I guess, the looping feature of the water along Weston Avenue there.
Michael?
Yep.
Where that's arrowed in, on your left side, is yours delineated? Is that sewer and water coming across through that green?
Yeah, so the green would be sewer and water, and then we'd probably end the sewer somewhere up in here.
Sure.
Then it'd just be water that would continue the rest of the way.
All the way from that point right there where you're. Here.
Yep.
For the driveway, Michael, all the way over to where you drop back down, that's all been delineated. I just had that done.
Okay.
So you could utilize my report if you wanted.
Yeah, so I guess that'd be, that's kind of their estimated cost if they have to go through everything, but if there are delineations out there already, we can utilize those and save that cost, so.
Yeah, I'd be more than happy to share that with you.
Okay.
It should go across all three of those properties.
Sure, okay.
Just when it hits, I can't read that underneath where it's, that one right there.
Yep.
Yeah, from there towards where you would tie in, I don't have anything there.
Sure, okay. That's one item still outstanding, then the roundabout at Ryan Street. So I guess, as we talk about project limits, no matter what, we'd probably have the east phase be several hundred feet east of Ryan Street, just so, the roundabout would probably be included then in the west phase project instead of the east phase. Because it does change the design, as this is just kind of a conceptual aspect of making sure it would fit or seeing how it would fit. But then there's an additional requirement, or I guess there'd be additional design costs estimated about $36,750 to go through with getting that in a more final state.
You're referencing the roundabout?
The roundabout, yep.
And does that where's your utilities end there, Michael? Does that loop down through, or are you serving anything with the Prohaska Park for utilities for anything, or?
Yeah, so water would come all the way through, and sewer, I believe we had stubbed through there.
How far down does that go?
I guess we'd have to check the elevations. I know we're still kind of determining that,
Running out of grade there?
yeah.
That's the golf course corner there?
No, this is at Ryan Street.
Ryan Street, okay.
Yep, so this is, these are two, farm fields owned by Gary Buckberger. This part is, the Prohaska Park. This is a private, single-family residence still, and then this is a property owned by the Knightsky family. And there's a house, a little further down off the page here.
Yeah, it looks like you're, the famous corner where they're always working, it seems like every other day, the telephone.
Yeah, there's a lot of utilities right,
Yes.
right here. Yep. Yeah, and then the Yardway site is about another quarter mile down the road there.
Tim?
Husheng had mentioned in the past that there are grant dollars available to work with these roundabouts at times? Is that something for the design costs could be requested through those grant dollars? Or maybe we pay for it up front and then request for the design dollars after, I don't know how that works.
Yeah, generally they're through safety grants. So we'd have to look at crash data history. If there's a lot of crash data, then generally, yes, you're eligible for it. If there's not enough crash data, then they tend not, they say, yeah, that looks like it might be something you want to upgrade, but it's kind of,
So this is likely not a grantable.
generally if there's not, fatalities or a lot of high numbers, it doesn't score as well as other intersections that people see.
I don't believe they pay for design, they pay for
They pay for
construction.
construction, yeah.
Another string that would be attached though, if we get grant dollars, then we'd have to make sure it meets all the DOT standards. We haven't proceeded on this project as though we're getting grants and fulfilling every requirement of facilities development manual.
Yep.
So we could bring in a whole nother aspect to this design and project timing and so forth, so. We haven't necessarily gone that direction on this.
Michael, that first driveway seems that it appears like it's gonna be okay. Do they have any setbacks on that? For that first driveway, if you would be heading towards, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess again, this was just
Yeah.
a concept thrown on there. How does this look? So, yeah, those details would need to be.
So we haven't officially designed the.
We haven't officially designed it. That would be an additional design cost we need to, I guess, approve with the engineer to
$36.
36,000. Give them the go ahead to,
Just out of curiosity, I mean, does it have to be a roundabout? Could it be a four-way stop?
I mean, the current design was just a two-way, like how it is now, through traffic on Weston Ave and stop on Ryan Street.
I believe there was a turn lane though.
There was a turn lane, yeah. So a turn lane was being
Yep.
designed in.
I remember that.
Yep.
I'm just wondering if it could be instead of, I don't know what the construction cost of that would be. But
I mean, put
would
a
a
stop.
four-way stop be better, would be better than what we have out there
I'm
currently?
assuming right now, currently, or once it's completed, will this be open for will it be road limit or will it be shut down in winter for road limits, or is it gonna be open?
I guess generally when we rebuild roads, we build them for all season.
Well, and that's the question is I think we have to really look at that to determine what's coming out of the industrial park currently. I mean, I see a lot of semis coming out of there, but then they put road limits on and shut them down in the winter. So if that is open, this is a very, very busy intersection. It's like the cutoff to get over to Weston instead of going through town. This has gotten very, very busy. So,
They're moving down Weston Avenue,
yes,
which
they are.
that's the other nice thing about a roundabout, it slows it, the traffic, you gotta slow down, right?
The newer the road, the more busier it's gonna be, and then that intersection's gonna even get busier and busier. So
I like the roundabout just for that, the traffic control reason.
Yeah, you can't really.
That's a long stretch that when people get going down,
Yeah,
Asking, I just wanted to have the
Oh, right,
conversation.
right,
so.
right.
down.
So just for everybody's information, there has been a request to have an item on the upcoming board agenda to discuss the continued use of Weston Avenue by trucks.
I think,
Not taking a, I guess, well, my feeling is that this is an arterial street. It's projected to get more traffic over time. I don't know, how we really can.
shut truck traffic down.
Right. So just my 2 cents worth, but there is a item that'll be on the board agenda next Monday.
I think the thought was to make a truck route out of the industrial park by the middle street, out the gate.
So then you make a truck route for everybody that's in the industrial park on that side, they gotta go to J and they can't go out that way?
That was, I don't know.
Or if there's industrial over by Buck Burgers in the future where the development used to be, then you just let them, they can't use the in-between?
We've got commercial future land uses along there.
I know, that's my point. So what do you do with your future
Right.
mapping? And I understand there's probably some people that live there that don't want the truck traffic, but
So just a point of information. I think what we would,
Would you want the truck traffic by where your school entrance and exits are, or do you want it on, over in this area? I mean, that would be my other thought from a safety standpoint too. The more trucks you put routing a J, the more, there's a lot of bus traffic in and out of.
it's not even just bus traffic. I don't know how many people even allow their kids to go on a bus anymore. There's so much regular traffic. It's crazy.
Well, that's true, yeah.
That's really gotten chaotic over there, no matter what school you go to.
They're
That's a
actually
good
lined up
point.
on the streets.
you need to have a contractor memo worked on, like, right away to take to the board next week, potentially.
Yeah, so I guess that was two things, if there are recommendations, it'd primarily be for the, moving forward with the design costs for the roundabout, as well as the, utility routes. And I guess maybe just general concurrence on, moving forward with removing the multi-use path, from Progress Way East. Okay, so, three items.
Michael, was there a cost?
Cost was, design is 93,750.
So that'd be the most, I guess if we do have some wetland delineations already done that we can utilize, that it'll reduce that.
Wasn't this brought up to them early enough along that did they even get into?
It was after the design contract was signed, so I guess, it is additional scope survey, that wasn't included in the original project.
They're not crediting any of that from what they wouldn't have to do on the main road?
That was already done, the delineation on the corridor.
No, the sewer, any of the work that needs to be tied to the sewer and water work that needs to go. I don't think they were far enough along to even think about.
Yeah, I
sewer
mean,
at the time.
so again, there's a preliminary number, so we can work on that with the I just asked them, I think, I need something, so,
The negotiate estimate,
Yeah.
all of it for 45.
sure.
So is that, how many
If you
feet
said
is
you
that?
need
How many
something,
mile is
you know
that?
you got a
93,000? How long?
About 3/4 of a mile,
Quarter mile?
3/4.
3/4. I think it's high number.
I can ask them for a different number. We can work on negotiating the number.
They should, yes.
Yeah.
They can't just hand it and say, okay, here,
Yeah,
and say-
they covered themselves.
Yeah,
Well, not only that, I guess, did they even get to the sewer and water portion of it where?
they had it laid out, so the majority of it is for the extra survey and delineating, and if it's done in a separate phase from the street. There might be a separate wetland permitting process for the utilities outside of the roadway corridor. So, it's really those three things, the survey, wetlands, and permitting that wouldn't be associated with the road.
Maybe you could get them to break that down a little bit.
Yeah, I can get,
Ultimately, maybe they got 6 or 10 grand in for that delineation, and I think I paid 3, you can use it.
Yep.
Use it, I'll give it to you.
sure.
We don't know exactly where we're gonna go with this, right?
No, I mean, it's still,
Okay.
they need more information before they can pin down a design, whereas before it was going down the roadway. So there's maybe a little more of a analysis too of routing.
I think we should take a look at it.
Yep.
For that stuff.
That's fine.
The only other question I guess I'll have, Michael, is the sewer, how far is the sewer brought to the intersection by J, or is it stopped by Country Fresh?
No, it goes down J and then, east on Weston Avenue.
What does?
Yep.
Okay. So that house that's currently there, how would you treat that?
On Weston Avenue? Well,
You'd be going by with water,
you'd be going by with water,
you wouldn't be served with sewer.
sewer, you'd have to kind of stub out from Weston Avenue. No matter what, there's not enough grade for a gravity system, so likely they'd have to go with like a low pressure sewer, to J. Because even if you try to run a gravity sewer, you don't get in front of their house before you run out of elevation.
By the intersection J?
Mhm.
Oh, really? Okay.
Because the road starts coming down and
Yeah.
your sewer comes up.
Actually, it's a pretty steep slope. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, so it's not quite deep enough at J to really come west very far.
So is that person gonna be required to hook on?
They've inquired in the past, I guess, you know, we would work with them to try to figure out how can we, you know, a gravity system isn't gonna work, but you know, like I said, a grinder pump, you know, we could,
You then, is it part of your contract that you should think about if they're gonna come from the corner of J, do you bring a poly down?
yeah, I mean, we'd have to look at, you know, how that works for as far as a sewer connection goes, you know.
If you're gonna make him hook on, cause he's got water, you should probably give him something.
Yeah, they need a sewer service, correct.
So are you looking for a recommendation tonight on both of these items?
Yeah, I guess just a general,
Principle.
in principle, and we can bring back,
Bring a contract to the board, I would think, you know what they wanna do.
yeah.
I think I agree with Hu Sheng, maybe we can ask him for some broken down numbers or some more competitive numbers if possible.
Sure.
Right, Hu Sheng?
You're talking specifically about the cross-country utility route design costs, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
The roundabout.
I don't know what the typical.
The roundabout is reasonable. Because the estimated cost is about 400,000. So 36,000 less than 10%.
What happens with the utilities on that, Michael? If they have to relocate their central hubs there, is that cost incurred on the project? Or does the utility company have to relocate that at their expense?
Depends if they're in the right of way or
If
not.
they're in the right of way, it's at their expense.
If they're on an easement, then there's a cost to the project.
That would be something worth looking into as well.
That's what I was just gonna say, I think we should be asking or looking at that.
Well, that could come into play either way. I don't even know what the answer to that is right now.
Which utilities are you thinking of?
We need to get a right of way plan.
On that, where their station is.
Right on the corner of Ryan and.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I mean, if it's in the right of way, then it's up to them to relocate, yeah.
If you look at your roundabout thing, it's going right through it.
Yep. Yeah, so I guess we have to look at the existing right of way, but I mean, again, if we ever. I have to look at the proposed right of way even for the turn lanes, that might have been pushing into that utility area too.
You probably have to move that driveway farther away from the roundabout, so, but he get to it when he get to the design of it.
Yep.
So if they're not in the right of way currently, but us putting in that roundabout puts them in the right of way, then it would be on us.
It's on us.
It would incur the costs of that.
Yeah,
If we're acquiring what is now private property and they're located on the private property, then we would have to pay for relocation.
It's a pleasure.
There's two recommendations. Are we shouldn't ask to have more information on both of them?
I'll move to recommend the village board approve the additional design costs for the roundabout at Ryan Street and Weston Avenue for an estimated design cost of $86,750.
I'll second.
Motion by Zagami, second by Mumper. On the question? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it.
So we're taking a motion and public works, I think that's really where the motion should come from.
Well, motion to recommend it to the board.
well, we should.
Well, they both are
Lawyer,
public
Public Works.
We're taking it as a joint,
Well, I'm on the planning commission also.
right, I know.
Fine.
Roy.
That goes for.
So what are we recommending on the cross-country? Anything?
And the cross-country, I think you should come back with a different number for us.
Sure.
Yes, I think that's the high number. And we don't have enough information, location, how many feet is that? And location is important to see where it's gonna go, because that's the one gonna challenge them.
Michael, I'm assuming they must have had it coming down Weston Avenue out of your Progress Ray, so they had a certain amount of footage already in their design.
Yeah, so I guess the So Hushang's question of where is it going, I guess that's part of the need for the survey and making sure they have the wetland delineation, so it's making grade and it's not going through the wetland, so it's almost it's a little bit of, you know, I guess the scope is a little different of just straight down the roadway, it's making sure horizontally we're not.
Let's see where it's gonna go and how much surveying is gonna take.
Okay, but I guess that's the question, that we don't know exactly where it's gonna go until we get
That's his job.
survey data.
That's his job. He's
Yeah.
gonna, he gets to surveying, how far he went behind the right of way, 100 feet?
Yeah, I think it might have been about 100 feet or something.
Usually that's what
Yeah.
we do, say 100 feet behind the right of way.
Yep.
Is he gonna be in that limit 100 feet? Then there's no need for surveying, he already got all the information.
Okay, they're well out of that 100 feet.
If it is out of
Yeah.
that, let's see where it is, then we can come up with some conclusion.
Sure.
But, and also, Michael, in my opinion, we talked about keeping the utilities out of the roadway, right?
Yeah,
So they still would have had an impact going through the wetlands already, and that would have been a wetland permitting already for them.
yeah, but that would have been all tied together.
Yeah. It's still some work that they don't have to do there, that they can put their efforts in on the top side.
Sure.
Right? 93,000 seems like an awful lot for that.
I agree. That, I don't think that needs to come back and plan, does it? More public works?
No, we'll just.
Okay.
Public Works and Board.
You know, the motion I made, I can make a motion in public works too.
Yep.
And now if it's a different one, I'll make that one as a planning commission, then for public work, one of the public work committee can do that. I just wanna make sure procedure wise you're okay.
Well, I think a recommendation should come from Public Works to the board.
Yeah, why don't you do that then?
Okay. I'll accept the motion from public work.
Okay, I'll move to recommend the village board approve additional design costs for a roundabout at Ryan Street and Weston Avenue for estimated design costs of $36,750.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I have it, thank you. And then for a second part, I'm just requesting to come back with a better number.
Sure. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Do you want to adjourn public works?
I do. I accept the motion to adjourn the public work.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I have it, thank you.
We still wanna close planning commission since we've got a separate meeting agenda?
Do you want us to close it or should we just stay in session? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Motion by Ermeling, second by Burns. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Yes, we can do it.
Yep.
And I got the red one.
4 minutes.
Thanks, Tom.
Yeah, you bet. Okay, well, hey, we made it. I didn't think so.
I was actually gonna do a quick one, I wanna, which is.
Not too bad, you guys?
Good, good. Well, yeah, he's got it.
We're running a little behind on the plan commission, regular plan commission. So we're gonna be.
You're thinking too that you're gonna want to zoom in, because then you can
Be,
just lower that.
Giving somebody a couple minutes here.
That's kind of.
Yeah, can you
Yeah,
submit like
parks when they're giving it.
Wi-Fi.
It should be Wi-Fi.
I think everybody's here, aren't they?
They all were here.
To the public.
Okay, we all set? Okay.
It's actually, I'll send you the agenda, it's right on the agenda.
All right, I'd like to call the regular meeting agenda for the Plan Commission to order for Monday, September 12th, 2022 at 6 PM. We are starting late at 6:27 PM. Call the meeting to order. Roll call and declaration of a quorum by Secretary Parker.
Cronin,
Here.
Zagami.
Here.
Ermeling.
Here.
Grant,
Here.
Jordan,
Here.
Bumper,
Here.
Insnalt,
present?
and Maloney and Deason are excused. They're not here.
Mark had called and said he was going to get in here today, so he probably not gonna be there.
Public comments, do we have any comments from anyone online or in the audience, or anybody online or anyone else that's just making public comments? Second time, anyone online or in the audience that wishes to make a public comment? Third and final time, anybody online or in the audience that wishes to make a comment? Do with their hands up?
Nope, just me and Valerie.
All right, moving along, minutes from previous meetings. Item number 3, minutes from the August 8th, 2022 joint PC and ETZ meeting.
To approve.
Motion by Pincinel,
Second.
second by Mumper. On the question? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. So carried. Communications, disclosures, and recusals. Members of the body should make any required disclosures or recusals during this time. Item number 4, written communications received. Have anything? All right. Moving right along, public hearings. Project number 20220294, Timber Ridge Builders. 131575 County Road L, Athens, Wisconsin, 54411, requesting a conditional use permit to allow for section 94.4.02, parent 1, G and H to be waived and modified within the 2F, two-family residential zoning district at 7111 Brianna Street, pin number 192-2808-243-0033. I'll open the public hearing. And presentation from staff.
Timber Ridge Builders has submitted a two-family home permit at 7111 Brianna Street. Upon review of the plans, it was noticed that they're not going to meet the 24-foot residential front of the building facing the road, and then the garage is going to exceed the 60% ratio. The code does allow a conditional use permit request to waive and reduce this down. So it'd be 22 feet would actually be facing, and it's 65% for the garage space, and staff is fine with this. We recommend approval.
All right. Public comment period. Do we have anybody online or in the audience that wishes to make a public comment on this? Second time, anyone online or in the audience that wishes to make a comment? And third and final time, anybody online or in the audience that wishes to make a comment? All right, I'm going to close the public hearing. Staff recommends approval, discussion and action by the Plan Commission. Jim?
Exhibit A, is that the 2 or 3 attached items in the packet here? I didn't see anything labeled Exhibit A.
In regards, so I will do that when I send it to the county, but it would be the site plan and the building plans would be the exhibits.
So I'll restate my question. Exhibit A in the conditional use, which we are asked to approve, is these 3 sheets right here?
Correct,
That makes up Exhibit A?
yes.
Thank you.
What are the other buildings in this area look like? Are they similar?
There's one next door that's
Cyan?
almost exactly like this,
Okay.
that they built a number of years ago.
And the reason probably being is it is a corner circular drive, right? Am I correct on that?
That's right in the corner.
Yeah, it's on the corner of the,
Yeah.
as the road turns, I guess.
This is zoning map.
Part of Exhibit A.
There we go.
Corner there.
So that would be difficult.
What's your pleasure? Should we go through the determination?
Dynamic low pressure system.
Item number 1 of the determination is the proposed conditional use consistent with the comprehensive plan, this chapter, and all other plans, programs, and ordinances adopted by the village.
Yes.
Yes.
Item number 2, the proposed conditional use in its proposed location and as depicted on the required site plan will not result in a substantial or undue adverse impact on nearby property, the character of the neighborhood, environmental factors, traffic factors, parking, public improvements, public property or rights of way or other matters affecting the public health, safety, or general welfare, either as they now exist or as they may in the future be developed as a result of the implementation of the provisions of this chapter, the comprehensive plan, or all other plans, programs, and ordinances adopted by the village.
Yes.
Yes.
Does the proposed conditional use maintain the desired consistency of land uses, land use intensities, and land use impacts as related to the environs of the subject property?
Yes.
Yes. Is the proposed conditional use located in an area that will be adequately served by and will not impose an undue burden on any of the improvements, facilities, utilities, or services provided by public agencies serving the subject property?
Yes.
Yes. Number 5, do the potential public benefits of the proposed conditional use outweigh potential adverse impacts of the proposed conditional use after taking into consideration the applicant's proposal and any requirements recommended by the applicant to ameliorate such impacts?
Yes.
Yes. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Ermeling, second by Zagami. On the question? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
So carried. Staff reports, items number 6 and, do we want to take them together or do you want to do them separate?
There's 5.
Okay, item 6, August 22, staff approves certified survey maps and site plans, and item number 7, August 2022, building permits.
Move to acknowledge items 6 and 7.
Motion by Zagami. Second by Mumper. On the question? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, so carried. Miscellaneous, number 8, project updates.
This is just on as a reminder, take that housing survey. If you have not, it'll stay open until the end of October. We also do have scheduled, and I sent you all out, meeting notices, if you can make it, on October 25th at the new building. They will actually be presenting what they have so far. That'll be the 3rd and final open house for this study, so.
Not to be confused, it's not an open house for the new facility. It's an open house for the project.
It's just for the housing study.
We're talking about having an open house at some point, but not ready for it at this stage.
And by October 25, you'll have all your technology dialed in by then?
We just,
No, we want.
he just needs a PowerPoint, which they'll have. So we just won't, your next meeting will be actually in this room yet because they won't have that over there, so. They won't have the audio.
All right, subsection D, TID 1 activity.
Not much to report there. We do have some interest still in the land, along Weston Avenue, south of, Tommy Docks and the PGA in there. Beyond that, I don't think we have necessarily anything else going on in TID 1 at the moment. Besides our work on Weston Avenue, the Weston Avenue project is first and foremost.
Actually, there was the vendor property, so
Oh, that's correct, I'm sorry, yeah, that's in TID 1. I keep
next to the drone.
There's some interest in that, yes. Met with the vendors on that, a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Yeah, so I guess those 2 items.
Subsection C, TID 2 activity.
So there, we had a meeting, last Friday with, a new owner for the former Lane Northwest property across from Quick Trip at Birch Street and Schofield Avenue. We're putting plans together for a
Multi-tenant building.
multi-tenant building, and, we're meeting next week with, Intercity State Bank, with their interest in redeveloping their site, building a new facility, a new office building up front, and I know they have much more land on that site that they'd like to, redevelop into some other uses, so we'll be talking about that.
Where, on Fox Street?
So that, yes, it's right across from, on Park Street there.
Right next to Pick and Save.
The Wendy's, as you've probably heard, went out of business, so I've already given that to it's the same person who's looking at the vendor site is looking at other sites throughout the avenue, so. I think the Aldi's has brought some Chicago interest, he's out of the Chicago area, so.
And the only other thing would be, and I know this was sent out to all officials, we have a request for proposals out to prospective developers on this site for their ideas of what they may want to do with it, what they would offer for it, that type of thing. It's being coordinated through Kristen Fish. And we are asking for those to be delivered by the end of October. So, and no obligation to award anything, we're just hopefully gonna get some proposals and have some options on what we may do.
The plan commission will be involved because of the land use change that's gonna have to come with it.
Okay. Subsection D, site plans currently being reviewed by staff.
So Emily just finished up last week with the DC Everset admin building, so that should be getting going. They're working on getting their building permit ready, and then we're also finalizing the Wausau Supply project.
Lots of exciting things going on.
Yep.
Item number 9, sound announcements and commissioner remarks. Jim, you have anything?
Yeah, two things. One, a number of us attended a planning commission seminar in Nakusa last week, weeks ago, something like that. It was informative. It was good to see good representation by our municipality. There were very few other ones there, just a handful of like Rapids and Nakusa folks there. But we're young, and that showed a strong presence, I think, in the area. And then secondly, what is the timeline, or when would we expect to see that quarterly development agreement report for the planning commission? Is that something that would be at the beginning of the quarter, end of the quarter? What do
We're
quarters look
still
like?
working on it, so because we're moving, we have to have boxes ready next week, so I'm thinking it'll be after we move. Just because we've been working on other things, so I need to pull those together. The documents are still coming back. 2 of the projects actually just got finalized with the completion surcharges put back, given back to them or being cut, so we'll have it for you.
So we'll see it Monday, October 10th? Is that fair?
Maybe. We'll see. I mean, I can work on it, but I
Because you can't have that many out there, right? When didn't we just make this change? There was 2 of them
we
at
have
the
to
last
go
meeting.
through them, so I wanted to do a complete list because you asked for it, so.
The existing ones that are out.
Right, you only have a half a dozen of them out there, right? Or 10 of them out there? New ones that you did,
I
not
wanna go
the,
through everything, so, I mean, I would like to make sure I have a full list, so.
okay. So by next meeting, could we have the 10 of them or however many new ones that you have? And then for next month, maybe for November, then you could backfill that list with what you had from old school completion surcharge, unfinished loose ends. Is that fair?
Sure.
Thank you.
Agree?
No.
Thank you.
Good.
Alright. Barb? No? No. Okay. Next regular meeting date, Monday, October 10th, 2022 at 6 PM. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Gert,
Second.
second by Jordan. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Uh,
Aye. So carried.